fuck.
I think it's getting close to us showing something live. So with that, I want to welcome Arvid Markhus, our Business Development VP. He's going to take us through our first session today, which is the AI-powered project controls, smarter decisions, better outcomes. Welcome, Arvid.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Kenneth, and thanks to everybody coming here. I'm really excited. This is cool. This is no PowerPoints. Everything's going to be live. Real use cases. So bear with me if things happen here, but we'll get through it. So for my session, I'm going to be focusing on project controls and how we have embedded AI seamlessly into those activities. So I'm going to start with scheduling, run through a little bit there, show some core functions, and then again, AI. Then we're going to go into procurement and bid packages. We'll go through the regular cost control, change management, risk management, and also meetings. And of course, portfolio. And again, the common theme is going to be how are we adapting AI into these functions. So let's get going on scheduling. So I'm going to go ahead and open my schedule tool. And the first thing you see is you can create your new schedules. And the way that we create those is either you build them up inside of Omega, or you simply import. We know Primavera is out there, Safran is out there, Microsoft Projects is out there. No problem. You can easily import them up. So if I go in and open what I have here, and what you see is a really modern view of your schedule. So you can take those old, boring reports and just bring them in and have them there. So why do we do this? Well, from an owner perspective, you might have multiple subcontractors on that project, and you need one owner schedule. So you can group them in together and get that overall look. You can also have certain self-driven activities along with contractors, and again, get that combined view. But for cost control, you need to map your schedule to your work breakdown structure, tie in so you can tie in your progress, and using that for time phasing and reporting the actual progress on a weekly or monthly basis. So that is all there. That's the common. But there's more. Right? So we can in here go ahead and enable our schedule. And I can, with that, go in and work on these activities. So if I need to do something in here, I might need to add new activities. I can do that. I can go in and report more to it, or just build upon the schedule I have. And of course, you can go in there and baseline your own schedule, so that what can you then? You can compare the schedule on a weekly basis. So again, if you have 1,000 activities, thousands of activities on a weekly basis brought in, how do you analyze that week over week and what changes? A tool like Omega can help you with that and bring it in to the rest. And of course, now you can share it with the rest of the company as well. Another thing that we see, so again, those using working in Primavera, you're used to that work breakdown structure of the view. If you've been working with Safran, you will see that they are working on a flat structure. So what we have done is combined the best of both of them. So now you can either build your hierarchies, or you can report on a flat structure, or you can go ahead and add any of your own system properties. Use the define field, what doesn't matter what you call them. So here, if I want to have a grouping in my schedule based on office location, I'll simply go in ahead and add that as a new property. It can be a text, it can be a number, and I can add as many of these as I want. And by doing that, I can group that schedule that's given to me by a contractor or built off myself to anything that I want to do. You want to see the progress for the second floor of the building? Group it that way. You want to see the progress based on the functional managers? Group it that way. And any numbers, there's no limits to it. And you can just do this as a user directly here in this modern view. So again, giving you those big values to existing functionality. Of course, scheduling comes with reports as well. So I load up the reporting. Again, this is live reports built directly on the tool. And what you expect, right? You want to see your S-curves. You can bring in your earned, of course. Oh, that's a nice curve. You can bring in your late planned using the float in your schedule. And these you're used to see. But again, notice the speed and the snappiness. And it's going to be throughout the sessions today, right? This is all running instantly. And you'll see that in Omega. And it doesn't matter of the data volume that you have. Right now, I'm looking at the duration of cost or hours. I can do any period I want. Maybe I want to see it daily, weekly, absolute value, percentage values. Bring in my baseline to compare them. And then I have stacking. So I can build in stacks to my view automatically. So if I go ahead here and add on my responsible, and then I can bring in a stacked report with those responsible parties, overlaying it with a schedule. Same thing I can do with my critical path activities and see those. So it's really usable, user-friendly views to go in and work with your data. And instant, always instant. If I look up here, you'll also see I have Monte Carlo simulation. So we have built Monte Carlo inside of Omega, so there's nothing taking it out and doing secondary there. And yes, you are right, it happens instantly. That's how quick we've done it. And that we've done that by building up the engine bottom up with this in mind. There's also DCMA checks built into the schedule. So again, for those that are not familiar with it, that's the Department of Defense standard 14-point assessment of any schedules. And again, happening instantly when you bring it in. So scenario there, you're working with a contractor, so give you the schedule, 10,000 activities. Looks fantastic because it's color blue, but you can't analyze this, right? DCMA helps you run those tests through it, and you have it there. And you see the logical test. That looks good, lead test looks good. There is something that's not passed here. I can click on those. They are listed. I can go in and I can work on those. Instant, available, shareable, workable. But there is more. We have AI, and that was a part of the topic today. So let's take a look at the AI into this. So directly in the same view, in the same features, I can go in and open my AI assistant. And it's also pleasant, right? It's like, hey, Arvid, how can I help you today? Always there, always available. And I'll have some prompts, and I'm just going to copy one instead of typing it in for you guys. And I'm going to ask, I'm concerned with my finish dates. Any key activities that is requiring assistance? So now it takes the whole schedule, looping through it, and prompting some answers. So this is the ChatGPT functionality, knowledge, put on top of everything we have. So here you go. I can say, filter these. And I would expect that it's applying a filter to my schedule with those activities. So it's thinking here, it's analyzing. Let's see if it does that. Sometimes it acts like a partner. You have to ask the same question twice. Take out the garbage. Yes, I will. Take out the garbage, and then it happens. But that is the nature of ChatGPT. I'm going to say, but it doesn't matter. So this will use how you're working it, and we can also just start a news chat and start over. So but you're using the data, and you're using it, and you're getting it in. And there's no limitation to this. No? You can use it to analyze anything. Any contractors on this schedule that doesn't have dependency on their tasks. Any critical path item that is missing, whatnot. So the power of these is huge. And then, of course, as you group them down, you can go in and you can simply go in and work them if you need to do anything there. And this is where I want to give an open invitation out. If any of you are working on auditing projects, assisting projects that might be in trouble, or actually looking at projects that have gone really well, if you have a schedule that you have worked hard on to come up with like a forensic analysis, if you want to share it with me, I'll pop it in here. I'll give you free access, and so you can go into it, and you can use this AI to compare. And the question is, are you smarter than ChatGPT? Right? So if you're interested, let us know, and we'll do that. After the scheduling, so let's look at a little bit of portfolio management. So my driving examples now is going to be data centers. We have some prominent guests here today, so let's look at data centers. So I have listed 30 data centers in my context here, and then for each of those 30 data centers, I have listed the estimates. So first, let's look at the project. So what is a project? Of course, those are unique projects. They are located in different regions in North America. Some is in Texas. We have some in Yukon, I believe, some in Alberta and whatnot. On those, I have tracked some key metrics. The project duration, the project size of the building, square meter size of the building, who are my key major vendors and contractors, what's the delivery method, lump sum, guaranteed max price, and whatnot. And again, these you can set up yourself. So why are we building in those metrics? Well, if we're looking at the estimates for those, so you'll see that I have all of the data centers. I have listed the estimates with my different items, with a quantity, a rate, the cost, and the man hours, and I get a grand total. There for 3 billions. I'll go on a single project. It's filtering down for like 96 million in this project. I'll open up WBS structure. You see I've grouped it into different disciplines, civil, mechanical, and so forth. And then, of course, under each one of those, I have the work packages or control accounts for those. Noticing the speed? It's always there. The data is there. Okay, so having those data in is good. And now you can analyze it. Okay, so what's the cost of my portfolio? It doesn't really cut it when you're analyzing your numbers to look at those total costs. Yes, it's more expensive to build things in Newfoundland than in Alberta. Well, guess what? There might be no reasons for that, details to that. Let's look at the man-hour rates. Let's look at the weighting for quantities over man-hours. Let's look at percentages of the different disciplines. That's what you can use for meaningful data. So let me go ahead and look into that. So, of course, on a basic level, you can always export the data out of Omega. So I can hit the export button, take it out to Excel, get an Excel file, and up until recent, most clients have been super happy with this, and woo, you can take it out to Excel. It's good, and we even have a pivot there, right? So numbers are numbers, text are text, and you can work with this and build your reports and whatnot. But we have progressed way past that. So I will use the AI agent, which is your personal agent, where you can set up knowledge packages and query this data that we just looked up. So again, I'm building data centers. I have 30 data centers in my project or in my portfolio. I have all of our estimates. I have broken down the costs then because the project has a region, so I know where they are. I know some metadata to them, and I have costs and what else? Man hours and quantities. So I'm going to go ahead and start a new chat. What will happen when I create a new chat is that I'm going to add what we call a knowledge pack. So a knowledge pack is where you, as a user, or we can help you, define the boundaries in your project that you're going to use AI upon. So again, Kenneth mentioned, it's all about structuring the data, but going in there and asking, what's the average cost for my projects? Well, if you're building data centers and maybe you're also building power stations, right? You want to look at certain things. So you can build these knowledge packages where you define the boundary. So in my knowledge pack, I have the work breakdown structure, I have the projects, I have all the costs for it, and I have all of those key data that we saw. So let's go ahead and use this one. And for my prompts, in some cases, you basically ask the same questions every Monday. How many hours was built last week? So you can save these prompts, but you can also use your own individuals. So let's just start with some of my predefined prompts. So again, if I'm going to have some useful data out of those data centers and those estimates, I can ask a question such as, what is the cost per square meters for those data centers, right? Some cost 100 billion or million, some cost 80 millions, but what is the cost per square meters? Much more useful data to get. And it's here. Came out in CAD. I could ask us to give it to me in Norwegian kroners. It doesn't matter. It will give it to there. So that's how it runs through it. And it even gives some recommendation next step, because it doesn't stop there. You can keep working with this data. I can simply go in here and say, do the same for hours. Because I had the hours in there, I had the cost in there. So now I'm expecting it to give me the average hours for each project. So by square meters. Right? So again, if you're building something that's twice as big, twice as fast, well, twice as long, it necessarily be more cost efficient. So you have that right in front of you on your fingertips to work with. I'll go into our other example. Well, I want to know the costs by region. So again, I have 30 data centers. They are in different states across the US and provinces across Canada. I can get this information by extracting it, by doing a report, building a custom report to have this. Or I can just ask AI, give me the cost per region. With bars. Anybody got goosebumps? Like, this is cool, guys. This is next level. These reports, how many have sat Tuesday afternoons, ready to go to hockey, management calls, I have a board meeting tomorrow, I need a report for this. Well, I didn't think about asking for that report when Graham came and implemented Omega for me, so I have two choices. I can call Graham, hey, can you send a developer over, build a new report for me, and we'll have it ready for next week, and we do that. Or I can take out the data. It's great in Omega because you can take it out to Excel and you have a pivot. Nice, but you still have to work those numbers. Well, you ask our AI agents, and it spits it out right there and then. I'll go to my third example, cost by discipline. Remember how we had a work breakdown structure built in there? Well, it knows that that's the discipline. So what do I do now? Well, I want to know how much cost is it for each of those disciplines on the project, percent-wise. And there is doing some calculations. It's doing there. Is it saying, let's see, create visual chart. Again, take out the trash. I will do it. Please, can you take out the trash? And it happens. Sometimes you have to ask twice. But that's okay. That is the nature. It's there, and it's on your fingertip. And you don't have to spend those nights creating that. You have it right there. And it can take it out to images for you. It can take it out to Excel for you. Oh, I want the color red to be more dark red. Well, don't ask me, ask the agent. You're controlling this yourself. Like, whatever you want. It's there. It's instant. And how useful is this now? I'm looking at the different disciplines, and I'm seeing, making an example, mechanical cost in one region is much higher than in another region. Why is that? Well, maybe there's some make sense to it, but what about the management cost? Why is the management cost in Alberta so much higher than in Houston? Maybe social budgets are higher, I don't know, but you can then ask those questions and work on this data. And guys, you're the estimators in the room, you know what questions to be asked. It's free to be used, it's there. And this isn't a PowerPoint presentation. This isn't smoke and mirror. This is not something that's coming next year. This is available today to be used right now. Average duration. Remember how we had the duration on the projects in there? Let's look at the average duration for each region. Again, very useful metrics. Still something you can do today for all of your 5,000 projects that you have in Omega. For all of your 10,000 projects you have. You can do that, but what does it take to do it? You have to go in and mine that data. Now you can just ask these questions, and it will come up. If you see here, in addition to just doing that, please take out the trash, I did the specific. I asked for a specific color of blue. I asked for a specific font size, some specific design, and I'm expecting that this to be coming out just like that. In this case, it's a candlestick graph, right? Can do anything, almost anything. And if you want those to be more angled, if your management come back and say, like, oh, I want this to be red, ask the question, and it's there. Stop paying for building those reports over and over. How many has applied Power BI as a reporting tool because your tool couldn't give you the reports you wanted, or you wanted the power to build your own reports? Well, maybe you don't even need that anymore. One more scenario I want to use in this is for the bid process. And I'm actually going to start a new chat. I was thinking. So, bring in my knowledge back again. So the scenario or the use case is I'm building these data centers. I already have built 30 of them, so I kind of know what I'm doing. And I have a bid process out there, and I'm receiving those bids. I might be one bid from a contractor or 5 different bids for a contractor. I look at it, $100 million, great. So how can I use that bid against my portfolio and get some meaningful result on it? So for this example, I already have my prompt ready. I want to search the knowledge pack, so all of my projects. I want to analyze this one bid project against a portfolio of projects, and I want it in a meaningful way, the answers. Again, it helps sometimes to say how you want those answers. And give me that output. So what AI is doing now is looping through, comparing the cost of all your projects, and then it's placing that one bid project against all of the others.
Wow.
Yes, thank you. There you go. It's like I got to chill. This is new for us in Canada. It's been used in Norway a little bit, but it's new for us in Canada. I was in here setting up this demo data this weekend actually, and it's like, this is cool. This is now. This is no PowerPoint again. This is live, ready for you. I can look into here again the same metrics on the hours or the civil piece on these projects, and it will be using those data to do this. And there is more. It can also use the PDFs, the files. So if I have 5 vendors or bidders submitting bid, hundreds of pages each on those bid documents, I can attach them to that same knowledge pack, and the agent will go in and extract the data and analyze those things for you. And this isn't the future. Public Works of Norway is using this today. So, you see any use case for it? I sure do. Okay, so I'm going to move away from the bid, from procurement piece, and go into cost management. And just take a little look at the month-end reporting. Because again, a lot of what we do is that project controls for the project, and we still have to do at least some of the daily jobs, but AI plays a part there too. So let's go ahead and look at one of the key articles, WBS Cost in Progress. So in here, I'll go ahead and bring up my work breakdown structure. Just look at the construction phase. So what are we seeing here, of course, as you might be aware, again, I can filter down into the different areas. Everything is updated. It is snappy. I don't have to say that anymore, but it is really fast. And navigate around. So what I'm looking at my work packages on my control accounts. I'm looking at the titles to them. I have the forecast methods, right? So we can forecast numerous ways. It could be trending. You can use earned value, expert judgment. It doesn't matter if you're using expert judgment because we are tracking all of the changes to the forecast still, so you still have full visibility to everything. Moving on, you'll see your cumulative and your periodic values. We have the planned time phase cost. We have the actuals, the earned calculated with your progress, your booked cost coming from your ERP tools, your accruals, and of course your totals baseline. Numerous baselines if you do that. Looking at you, Graham. And your forecast and so forth. There's also analyzing happening here using earned value methodology, using the CPI that you have on the remaining of the costs, applying the incurred cost to come up with a calculated forecast, helping you, not doing the forecast for you, but helping you drive the forecast and knowledge behind it. You'll see some warning flags in here, so it's not errors, but there's a flag that draws your attention. And this one right here tells me that my booked is higher than my commitments. Again, there's no error, but it's the reality. And now Omega really helps you zone in that information, so make you aware, I should go in here and potentially raise a change request. So it helps you keep that focus. If I want to see the numbers behind the package, I'll go into the side here. I'll see my estimates built up of the original estimates, any line items, any changes happening to that. And of course, there's all the numbers and so forth in here, linked to changes. I have my booked cost, so I see all my transactions coming in. So again, I can go in and look at those invoice details. You can look at those. Everything is there available. And then I have the change log. So any changes that is hitting this package is listing there directly. I can go in and look at that. And I'm going to come back to the changes in a second. You also see the pending change value right there on the grid, so you know pending and approved changes and where they're coming from and whatnot. If you look at the buttons up here, you'll see buttons for time phasing. So you can time phase by the profiles and dates. You can time phase from your schedule. So you get your schedule in there, resource loaded, and you can just apply that on your projects to get the same distribution. Update actuals, update from bill of quantity if you're using contractor reporting, update from LEMS, So everything here is tied in. That's why we're configuring for you. Or you use bill of quantities, or you're going to be using LEMS reporting, or you're going to use other methods and so forth. So those are all set up. If you look at the reports, some examples. Cost status, what you would expect. You'll see your periodic values. You'll see your cumulative values to this year, to date, and the totals. All right. The report might be basic, but what is natively in here that Kenneth talked to in the beginning was the portfolio. So the same report, I just changed my context up, and I will see the cost for all of those 30 data centers. I can go down to US, I see all the costs for those 30 data centers. So there's no more creating portfolio reports, doing portfolio reporting. Like, you do the project reporting, and it just flows up. Other notable reports, cost curve, of course, you need a cost curve. It's really the only report you need, if you ask me. You'll have my construction here. Go in, you can look at it, so you can bring in your periodic numbers. You'll have your cumulative numbers. You can drill down into your structure, and it's automatically recalculating those. And as well, behind here, of course, you have your numbers in Excel. In the numbers behind your graph in a table that you can also take out to Excel if you need to. But it's there, it's instance, you can navigate around and have it. So there was no AI there, and you guys have the QR code, so I was hoping that there are going to be a couple of good use cases in that process where you want to see AI. Chocolate is waiting here. So let's see what comes up. But for the changes, I know that I'm going to come back to those. So let me go ahead and open the change register. So again, in Omega, changes is just one of those processes that we can define with online signatures, email notification, pending actions, including documents and so forth, and we send those through. And you'll break them down into cost. This is just one-liner, but you can have as many line items as you want, of course. It can be a budget change, it can be a trend, it can be a project change. All of that is managed in there. You also see here that we have checklists added to it. You can have actions, and then you submit it forward. So let's take a look at the AI assistant in this use case. Again, pleased to meet you, Arvid. How can I assist? I love the greeting. I might ask, how many changes are weather related? And I'm not searching for a bit field that says change is weather delay, yes, no. I'm not searching for a status. I'm using the AI technology with this vector database and looking at Augustus here now. He knows how it does, but it does his magic. And it comes up with his answer. And there's two of them. And I might ask, can you filter for them in the grid? And my expectation would be that I will get those two listed. Again, I didn't filter for a checkbox. I didn't ask for a checkbox. I asked for people to put in a description saying, like, this has something to do with weather, however they write it. And it finds them. Wow. Thank you. This is like, and again, no PowerPoints. This is live. This is today. This is ready for you to use. Changes and risk goes hand in hand. So let's take a quick look at the risk, and then I'm going to ease off here. Am I okay on time, I think? So risk register in Omega. We, again, as we always done, we have a rich risk register. We are capturing opportunities and threats, because you do want to maximize on the possibilities of good returns. But of course, you want to mitigate those threats to the projects. So in here, I have a listing of all my risks. You'll see titles, who's responsible, the status of them, You will have some color coding based on the heat map, and then you have some 3-point estimates calculation to it as well. So I'll touch base on that in a second. I can go in, and again, key things that still is great. I can go in and filter for consequence area. I want to see anything that is related to environmental. There's my environmental risks. And up until recently, this is how we did these demos. Right? This is fast, this is cool, this is great. This is really great. But it's all that extra. So what can I do in here? I can go in and open one for you and just talk a little bit about what we do. Because it's all still about capturing the data, right? We're not going to stop doing our work and letting AI take over and say, do my risks, right? You still have to be in there, work at capturing the data, grouping and classifying the data and so forth, but then it's what we can do on top of this. So what we are doing on these risks here, I have the risk, I have its description, I have a classification in there, I have some detailed data. Is it a top 10? What is the RBS structure? You can look at areas, responsible managers, doesn't really matter. You can add the information that you need. In the middle of the screen, you see my mitigating actions. This one I only have one, but you can have as many mitigating actions as possible, or needed, of course. I can simply go in here and create a new one, and these can be workflows that you're passing through and working them out. And you have the status for all of those right here. I also have related data. A risk is often tied to WBS. It might be tied to a RFI, it might be tied to an incident, a contractor. So we can loop that. So remember that beehive in the beginning? One of the drivers for only using one license for the whole product is we want that silos teared down and that working together, collaborativeness, and you get that by bringing all the data into one place. There's still people involved, but the tool will help you. If I go to the details, what do you notice here? And I'm going to go ahead and do edit this current assessment. So what you'll see here, I have my probability. So the risk either happens or it doesn't happen or anywhere in between. Right? So that is, there's only one probability to risk. But you can have multiple consequences. It can be a cost consequence. It can also be an environmental consequence. And the cost consequence might be low, but the environmental consequence can be high. It can be a reputational consequence. So you can add any of these consequences to the same risks and classify those differently, but then have that one overall risk register in here. For the 3-point estimates, for the cost and the schedule, we're taking the minimum value, the most likely value, and the maximum value. We take 1 times minimum, 4 points most likely, 1 point maximum, divided by 6, and then applying the probability factors to give that calculated response. So again, if you're using that to tie in with your contingency, you can do that. But you guys come here to see AI. So I have the AI assistant on my risk. And as always, it's happy to see me and ready to help me. And I'm going to simply ask for this risk that I only have one mitigating actions. Can you create a list of mitigating actions, please? So my expectation now is that it will analyze that risk, and it will give me a listing of suggested mitigating actions that I should apply to that risk. And it gives me some follow-up questions. And it asks any process, right? So a process can be investigation, evaluation, mitigating. So I'm going to just say risk evaluation process. Those processes you define inside of Omega. It can be like, is it a 5-step process? Is it a 2-step process? Basically the workflow for these. And then from there, should receive a grid shortly. So hopefully they will now list potentially 5 mitigating actions that I can simply go in and say, check these off. I want these 2 of these 5. Create them, and they will create those mitigating actions directly in the list of mitigating actions. Again, in front of people speaking, sometimes you don't always see it, but there you'll see, I'm going to show my previous one here. Hang on. You'll see it will list them, and you can just go ahead and create them, and they will be populated. So, not taking away the human, but I honestly believe we are empowering our users to be superhumans here. You can do so much more with what you have and still get into those hockey games on Tuesdays. Like, this is what we were looking for. If I go back to my risk register, of course I have the AI assistant there too. You're going to see AI assistant across the tool. And where you don't see it is where I'm expecting those suggestions to be. And we'll take them and we'll use them, but we'll give them back to you as soon as you get to Omega, right? It's included there. I can look into here all of my risks. I can ask questions such as, are there any risks with outstanding actions? I don't know. I can ask risks with my actions. Is there any risk that is over $1 million? Is there? Doesn't matter what you're asking. This is the questions that you can use and apply to. Remember when Graham was saying there is no such thing as a stupid question in the beginning here? Well, there might be, but now you can keep them for yourself. So, here's a listing. I can apply the filter. I can go in and look at that. It even give me the status of them and so forth. And this is so cool that I even forgot to tell you that we have Monte Carlo built in here as well. So I can run a Monte Carlo simulation directly on my risk register, same way as I run a scheduler Monte Carlo. Again, no point of going outside of the tool to do any of these efforts.
Arvid, we have a question over here.
Arvid, what did you use for your training set when you were showing, you're coming up with your answers with your AI? What training set is Omega used for?
Yeah, so really good questions. For two things there. We have our SME tables that will be able to give all of those details, but in general, for the training sets, we are using the ChatGPT engine, and everything is typed into this one. So there's none of these risks are shared with OpenAI. None of these documents are shared with OpenAI. Everything here is isolated to the individual clients. So we're not training it, we are using the technology of that AI. Good. Okay, I'm going to go forward and go into the last one, which is, and I'm sure it's going to be a lot of questions, so please see me after, because we have a tight program. See the SME tables outside, and we will be happy to answer all of these questions throughout the day. And I'm going to go to my last item, which is the meetings. So why do we have meetings inside of Omega? Well, the world we live in today consists of way too many meetings, and maybe AI can help us there too, but the meeting still occurs. So one of those key things we can do here is to combine all of that information in. So here I have a meeting with opening. I have here a detailed review of the study phase. I can go in and look at a checklist that I can apply to that meetings. On that checklist, we can of course check off. We can add the status comments. We can apply documentation to them. We can create actions on those directly. I can go in and have a meeting agenda on the risk register. I can apply a filter risks of all my risks. Again, when I'm doing this inside of Omega, combining all of that data into one place, this whole thing come to the risk register. What did you do? Did you change? Did you finish your actions? Let's have an Excel file. There's no need. The data is here. I can go in and I can work on that risk register. And if I have an update I want to do, I can go in and reclassify that. Same thing with your schedule, same thing with your procurement packages, same thing with your changes. You can do the meetings live with information, leave that meeting, and really have it completed. And of course, with new technologies, we can create the minutes of meeting reports automatically. You can include attachments if you want to, and you can distribute this one. Same thing with signatures and all of that. So that is all there. And like, why do you have meetings in Project Contest demo? We are doing meetings so much. All right, it can be and what is a meeting? A status meeting is a meeting. A contractor audit is a meeting. QA activities is meetings. Risk review is meetings. So we collaborated those into that one. And then from there, we of course have the AI. So with all of these meetings happening, conference happening, traveling happening, I could go into my AI assistant and say, list the list the meetings I missed last week. Summarize any actions that happened on that meeting yesterday when I went to that hockey game. You can use that AI technology on the data in the tool really all over. So I've shown mine. So now you guys submit your questions. Show me your questions, or not questions, but suggestion, where you see you can empower all of our users with AI. Because this is new, but the train is rolling, and we're going to empower more and more of this. And have it ready. And again, I'm going to say it one more time. There's no PowerPoint presentations. Everything was live. Everything I did here is ready for you today to enable. 3 days if you're not on existing clients. Okay. That's what I have.